This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the
one and only
Troy Adams.
We're going all out for yet another Wrestling Wednesday, brought to you by the Podcast Wrestling Society. I am your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and the Attitude Killer and Throne Breaker, Troy Adams. And joining me here today is the Nick Jackson to my Matt Jackson. Us young bucks are about to have ourselves a super kick party. He is the elite, the elite. Tarren Bland, what up, man?
How's it going, sir? I like that intro. I've never been a part of a Young Bucks before, so I like that.
Do you have a Young Bucks t-shirt? I forget.
I do not.
The only one I have is the, and I mean it's a good one. I like it, but I have the, I think you've seen it, the censored one after they got sued for using Too Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one. And then I have a Bullet Club shirt and a Cody shirt. So I got to update my stuff and get the AEW merch.
You and me both. I have to get a lot of merchandise coming up here in the next few weeks.
The only problem is I don't want the current, the first crop of T-shirts they came out with for the Elite, because like Kenny Omega's shirt is like a Terminator kitty. I don't exactly want that one. So I'll have to get a different kind of.
Real men wear Terminator kitties.
I guess so, yeah. And wear Terminator cat shirts, and then they imitate memes on pay-per-view while they're on a laptop. So, but oh man, we're going. If people haven't figured out from the intro or haven't read the title of the podcast yet, we're going all in on All Elite Wrestling's very first ever official pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. You watched the show. What'd you think of it overall?
Overall, I loved it. And for some reason, it gave me a WCW feel. I don't know, maybe that's just the way it was shot, but like just the way the camera was positioned and focused on the ring, I could just, like where it said AEW in the middle of the ring, I could just picture that saying WCW. Like it just gave me that old feel. Maybe it has something to do with Turner being part of it. But overall, I love the show. I immediately tweeted the next morning that WWE is in serious trouble because AEW is coming.
Well, we'll definitely have to talk about all of that. You can't talk about the show without talking about the big numero uno for so many years, WWE. But we'll definitely talk about all that, and how Raw and SmackDown have been the last couple of weeks. Did you watch Raw last night? Because I have not seen it yet.
I did, and a lot of people were upset.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I'll say. But while we're here, before we get into the actual pay-per-view, some of you may have noticed that the intro is a bit different for the show. That is because we are now on Big Heads Media. You can go to bigheadsmedia.com. If you if you click on sports, it'll take you to a big different page. You can scroll down, you'll see us, Podcast Wrestling Society. Click on us and you can see all of our latest shows. We got some merch coming on that site as well. bigheadsmedia.com. It's a new home of the Podcast Wrestling Society. We're stepping up in the world. We are still associated with Drama City Productions. Go check that out, dramacityproductions.com/PWS. That is our site. You can click on merch or more merch, and we'll hook you up with some good stuff. And last but not least, wrestlingwithwrestling.com. We're still on there as well. We don't keep up with a lot of the news anymore here on the podcast, but you can see that, and you can see show rundowns, other great podcasts on there. It is wrestlingwithwrestling.com, covering all four corners of the ring. Now, time to get into AEW Double or Nothing. I'll want to touch on WWE at the end of the podcast here, because I know we'll have some opinions. For all of you out there, I'm not going to crap on WWE. I'm not going to defend their, the stupid stuff, but I'm not going to, crap on them. I will say it is a good sign that a certain mutual friend of ours, who until now I've only known him as a strict WWE guy, he was gushing over AEW online. I think I know who you're talking about, and I had to convert him over to it. I mean, we can't just strictly be, if we're going to be a wrestling show, we had to talk all wrestling, I think. Oh, yeah, definitely, especially if AEW is going to be a big player in the game, and New Japan is there as well. So, big stuff, especially when, New Japan and Ring of Honor were in the GAD, and I mean, that in itself was a huge thing. AEW is going to be pulling some hopefully bigger and bigger shows as it grows. So yeah, you can't leave that stuff out.
Well, I don't think I got him to New Japan yet. I think right now he's just WWE and AEW. Hell, I don't even think I got him to NXT yet.
Yeah, I remember when I used to work at the same establishment as you, he was talking about he finally watched a takeover event and he couldn't believe how great it was. I said, "Yeah, man, you've been missing out."
That's for sure. But slowly but surely, I'll get him hooked on all the wrestling companies out there.
Yeah, it's some good stuff if it keeps up. I'll say that. Did you watch the pre-show battle royal that they had, the casino battle royal?
I did, and that was kind of confusing at first.
Yeah, I got real confused by the rules. I finally figured it out after like the third group of people came out. I'm like, okay, I get it, I think. But it was weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're going to put them all in. You're going to have them put them all in suits and just have numerous competitors come down. Like, yeah, that was totally weird. I think they overthought that process. I mean, I know they wanted to make it different, but I just think they overthunk it.
Well, because and I realize it's not real. Okay, whatever. But I'm thinking, like, if this were real, why? Because for those of you that don't know the how it goes here, there's a deck of cards. And depending on, and I don't know, this probably wasn't shoot drawn, it was probably, kayfabe, draw your card. But whatever suit the card was, like clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades, whatever, you were in that group. And and after, 3 minutes, a new group would come down.
Yep.
So the first group were clubs, and it was 5 people. They started in the ring, and then 3 minutes later, diamonds came down, then hearts and spades, and whoever drew the Joker card was the 22nd person to enter the match, and he entered alone. And it's just when they were trying to explain it, I was just like, Justin, there were a lot of words coming out of Justin Roberts' mouth, and I didn't understand any of them.
And I'll applaud Justin for remembering all that stuff, because that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, and like I get it now, but and here's where I was going with it. If this were real, these 5 people entered the ring together as a group. for their suit. And I'm like, why aren't they beating the tar out of each other on the way to the ring? They're like, nope, got to get to the ring first, and then we'll fight. Like,
that wouldn't that. Well, I get why they wouldn't do it, but I mean, because if you take out your opponent while you're outside the ring, you got to still throw them in the ring, and then throw them out. So,
right.
I mean, I get your point. I guess if you want to, like, quote unquote, weaken your opponents,
yeah, it was just weird for me. There were a lot of.
Then I think that would have been it'd have been a lot to watch, because if you had brawls outside the ring, you probably would have forgot what's going on inside the ring. So
yeah, and I don't think they wanted to split screen anything that night. So they threw all of their. I'm not going to say it's all novelty acts. There were a few guys in this match. I'll point them out. It's like they're definite stars, or they will be stars. Other ones, it's like, man, you just threw all of your novelty, who gives a crap guys out there for this one. I mean, you had some, they had some people, some noticeable names, like Tommy Dreamer was in the Spades group that was the last to enter. Billy Gunn. This one, they had freaking Glacier.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, oh my goodness! This reminded me strictly of like purely early '90s wrestling, where everyone had like crazy over the top gimmicks. Like that. Yes. That's exactly what you've seen in this battle royal.
Right, and it starts off with this group, the clubs group, where you've got somebody who they made clear that I haven't seen much of him other than at All In, and but I've heard good things about him, and he had a great showing here as a heel, was MJF. I think he's going to shine as one of their top heels.
My God, he was so hated.
Oh, I know. Hated. I saw something somebody posted about him where Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com said he was hanging out with MJF outside of the arena after they wrapped up the show, and he said he saw somebody wearing an AEW shirt, and he was like, hold on, I have to let this guy know I'm here. And he walked up and he just like stared at the dude through the window until the guy noticed him, and when he looked over at MJF just said, F you, and he walked on. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
One thing I took away from this AEW show, like, they had no problem with telling each other they were all number one. So I've seen a lot of middle fingers throughout the night.
Yeah, that was there were a lot of contrasts from anything you'll see on a WWE event, which we'll dive into later as well. But this first group, you've got Sunny Days, who is a fat guy with gold dust paint, basically. I don't know what this guy's deal was. Michael Nakazawa, who's just some weird guy who oils himself up.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Brandon Cutler was the only one who kind of looked like a wrestler, but he's really skinny. And then Dustin Thomas had no legs. And I'm not like dogging him for having a disability, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, how is he going to wrestle? Like, you can, like, I've seen legless people actually like amateur wrestle, but he's like trying to work a match with no legs. And it was, I don't know, it was interesting to see. I don't know if he's going to hang around or if this was just like a, hey, this guy kind of thing, for the pay-per-view.
I mean, I applaud AEW. I mean, I guess they don't want to leave nobody out, no matter what your gimmick is. Like,
right.
Like you said, for him, he had no legs, so I applaud him for doing that. But I seriously doubt moving forward that he'll be a part of the show.
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't really do anything except for one specific moment. We'll touch on here in a minute. The second group I thought was just full of people that have potential. I think his name is Isaiah Cassidy. He's with Mark Quinn. I can't remember the name of their tag team. Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to Google it. I feel bad. One of them wrestled with sunglasses on throughout the whole match, and I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. Private Party. That's the name of their tag team. They were cool. I like the fact that they're filling out the tag team division with, talented people. Jimmy Havoc is cool. He pulled out a freaking stapler gun. That was crazy. That was another contrast of anything you'll see on a WWE event.
Yeah, and stapled a lit cigarette on yeah. I was
to
just
Joey
thinking,
Janela's forehead.
Yeah.
I was like, what the F? I don't need to see that. Like, come on, man. But we've got him. We've got another former deathmatch worker there. We got a few deathmatch workers here, so we might see some gruesome crap pop up in AEW's future. I'm just hoping it's few and far between. Because if you abuse that stuff, then it's like, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah, and I think for their first show, with just being strictly a pay-per-view event, but I think once they move to TNT in the fall, I think we rarely see that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably see some blood here and there, but I'm really not thinking they're going to go full on CZW or anything. But yeah, you had that Isaiah Cassidy, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, Brian Pillman Jr., and Sean Spears, the Perfect 10.
Perfect 10, yes.
The only thing was he didn't hardly do anything. Like,
yeah, he didn't really stand out other than his green eyes.
Yeah, he had
that was probably the most impressive thing he did all night. Yeah.
Yeah, he had green trim on his outfit, like his logos, whatever, and then his eyes were matching green. He hit the old school tiebreaker, though. So he went back to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he doesn't have to not do it anymore. I guarantee he had to stop doing that because AJ uses it as a transitional move in the match. But yeah, so he didn't really do anything. He got eliminated by Dustin Thomas, who hit kind of a 619 on him and then sort of head scissored him over the top rope. And it sounds weird because he has no legs, but he did it. So that was that. Some people were kind of, my friends who were big WWE guys were looking for a reason to dog him. And they're like, oh, you cried and took your ball and went home because WWE wasn't using you properly just so you can be eliminated from a pre-show battle royal by a legless guy. And I'm like, he still looked cool, and he came across to me like he mattered. People liked him.
Yeah, I mean, and he can do what he's free to do what he wants to now. He's not restricted, and by just staying in WWE, he can travel to different companies and wrestle all around the world. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the move at all.
I'm wondering though, because he didn't call himself. The announcers said he was the Perfect 10, but I'm wondering if you. I don't even know if you can trademark that because it's kind of just a descriptor. I don't know. He might not be able to put it on merch.
Yeah, I don't think he can probably use it for merchandise. But I mean, but as you seen when he first got in the ring, he still did his little his taunt and everything. So you just can't. You probably just can't have it on merchandise or nothing.
And the crowd will always chant 10 for him. So.
Yeah, there's no getting away around that.
Right. Yeah. The third group was Billy Gunn and Glacier. So you got the old guys out there. I mean, Billy's still in great shape. Glacier, not so much. But then we had Jungle Boy, who, oddly enough, was pretty over with this crowd. Like, he's really small. Not Marco Stunt small, but he's pretty small. but he was over, man. I guess people are familiar with his indie work.
He kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't too familiar. I heard the name, but I haven't seen much of his work. But he was over, like you said.
Yeah, until he got signed to AEW, I didn't know who this guy was. Apparently, he's a local guy from the California indie scene. So, for those of you who are familiar with the show and not new listeners, my usual co-host Greg is very familiar with his work out there with in the Cali indies. But he's the son of Luke Perry, the now deceased actor. Mark Quinn was a part of this group, and Ace Romero, who is huge. That is a big boy. I don't know how else to describe him.
You could tell he loves to eat. Let's put it leave it at that.
Yeah, he's a big man. His nickname is AC Baby. He's done a lot of he's a well-traveled indie guy. I'll say that. He's done a lot of stuff out here in the Ohio indies. But yeah, he's talented and he's quick for being as big as he is.
Exactly. For being such a big guy, he is freakishly athletic.
Oh yeah, he toped during this match. I was like, okie dokie. This last crew of guys that came out, though, you had a lot of novelties. You know, they saved a lot of the gimmicky people for the end, because you had Tommy Dreamer, who is, you know, another vet, but then you had Sonny Kiss, who is almost like, if anybody's familiar with Dalton Castle of ROH, very flamboyant and openly homosexual and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah.
My only thing about that is, like, okay, well, I don't care one way or another. My thing is he did the Naomi to Tommy Dreamer and shoved his face into his butt crack, and I was like, nope, that's where I draw the line. Nope, no, thank you.
Yeah, but I can't really complain about that. I mean, because hell. Didn't Rikishi make a living off of that? So I can't really.
Well, I said that back then. I was like, no. But then they had Marco Stunt, who I'm a small guy. I'm only about 5'5". I could probably fit Marco Stunt in my pocket. He was a little dude, and he's famous for just getting in the ring and doing the floss dance. And Luchasaurus.
Yeah, he kind of caught me off guard. I thought he was going to take the mask off, but nope, he wrestled with the mask on. Had a greenish beard. Yep,
he is very gimmicky, but he is 6'7", 233 pounds. He is a big dude. He wrestled really well, I thought. I liked his work. What did you think of him?
Yeah, to be a big guy, yeah, he definitely stood out. You definitely couldn't miss him. He did show signs of dominance at times, mm-hmm. and I just like to see more. I just like to see what's next for him moving down the road. Hopefully, he's a huge player in AEW moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, especially he's one of the biggest guys they've got on the whole roster. So he impressed me. I'll say. So we'll see. You know what his future looks like. For those of you that watched Lucha Underground, I don't keep up with it, but he was known as Vibora in Lucha Underground. So. There you go. And I guess he was Judas Devlin in NXT. I don't remember him.
Yeah, nuh-uh.
But yeah,
that's one thing with AEW. Like, obviously, for everybody's watching, they're not going to know everybody. So, I mean, but as time moves on, you build these guys up, they'll become household names eventually.
Right. Yeah, you'd like to think so. Yeah. The last entrant in that group, I marked out a little bit because this guy, and he didn't have a lot of time in the match to be goofy, and he's got a goofy gimmick, but I popped for him, is Orange Cassidy. He got in the ring with his sunglasses on, his hands in his pockets, and he delivered the most nonchalant, I couldn't care less thigh kicks, I guess, to Tommy Dreamer. And people are like cheering and chanting like he's just wailing on Tommy. And then Tommy just grabbed him and threw him out of the ring. And he got up and was like, whatever, and walked to the back. I love me some Orange Cassidy. It's so stupid, but it's funny.
Yeah, that's one of those gimmicks where, like, right now, it may just seem as just him. He's being him, but eventually down the road, he could be a big star, a bigger star.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to be. Well, I can't say never, but I don't think he doesn't have a main event gimmick, but he has a gimmick that can get over. So, he can get some fans. He can get people behind him and buying his merch and stuff like that. It's an interesting, goofy gimmick. But the guy who drew the Joker card was Hangman Page.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I don't know. I was a little shocked. I didn't expect him because I thought he was going to have an actual match.
Nah, yeah, I wasn't shocked that he drew the card, especially when his original match got pulled. So
yeah.
and they weren't really advertising him on the main card, so it's like, okay, they gotta get him on the show somehow. So I was kind of guessing that he would be the last one. So I wasn't really too shocked about that.
Yeah, I don't know. When he came out, I was like, no. Okay, whatever. He won, for just saying that now. He won the whole thing. He looked like a freaking star in that match where not everybody looked like a star. Him and MJF, man, I thought had amazing showings in this and really stood out from the pack. So,
yeah, like, if you had to pick like the MVPs of this match, I would go Page, MJF, and I mean, as far as stars, those are, like you said, those are your two guys that you can build going forward. If MJF happens to become the first AEW champion, then you could easily, if Page, I'm sorry, you could easily see him feuding with MJF.
Oh yeah, I see them strapping the Rocket to Page's back and just having him be their top draw and their top face. They could, I think they could really market him. I honestly thought they were going with Omega. But we'll talk about that later. But it seems like they're really pulling for Hangman Page, and they think it's his time to be the guy. I don't disagree. I think he's really come into his own last few years. The Bullet Club really helped him get out of his shell, and I think he's great, very marketable. Brian Pillman Jr. looked like a star, in my opinion, as well. He didn't do a whole lot, but what he did do, he looked good doing it. He's got a unique look. I was glad he doesn't look like a clone of his father, because that's what I was worried about, that he was going to come out in Brian Pillman Sr.'s old gear or something.
Yeah, and when you, like I said, he definitely has a unique look. Because I remember when I met him long before Double or Nothing, and I had to do a double take. I was like, I know Brian Pillman has passed on, so you have to be his son, because outside of the ring, like, he looks dead on his father. So yeah, I'm glad he didn't really do too much of his father's gimmick in the ring.
Right. Yeah, and he I saw him that day. I didn't get to meet him, but he was wearing his dad's old Hollywood Blondes vest.
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty cool. But yeah, he's bleached his hair out now, and he's got a different look to him. But because of this, Adam Page goes on to he's going to face the winner of the main event for the first ever AEW championship. So good stuff. I will say the pre-show here, because there was one other match before the actual show. That was 16 minutes long. I wasn't super impressed with all of it. It was okay. And then the next match was okay, but I wasn't, like, blown away.
I'm sorry. I kind of sped watch those matches.
Yeah,
I clicked throughout and just seen a few moves. I mean, and see who won. But yeah, I didn't really watch anything else on the pre-show.
Yeah, during the pre-show, Greg was kind of saying, he was like, "Look, they better step this up, or I'm going to be really mad that I spent $60 on this." Like, yeah, the actual first one-on-one match they ever had in AEW was Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. I haven't heard of either one of these guys, but they had a 10-minute match, and Kip Sabian won. He looked like he was wearing an outfit inspired by Nickelodeon. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that. Oh my god, my goodness.
Because it was bright orange, and then it had like bright green like drips on the side, like slime.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Nickelodeon is huge over in Great Britain. That's where he's from. He's from. He grew up in. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny though. I was just like, did he come straight out of Nickelodeon? Like, what's going on here? His finisher is the slime, but
oh god.
his setup move is the kid's choice, or no, the Kip's choice. Get it?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Better trademark that before he finds out.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, I got him. But yeah, that match was what it was. Wasn't bad. Wasn't breathtaking, but that rounds out the pre-show. Before we get into the actual show here, the actual pay-per-view, we're going to take a little promo break here, and going to let you know, instead of Drama City Productions podcast here today, we're going to tell you about some other podcasts on Big Heads Media. Like I said, go to bigheadsmedia.com and check out there's a wide array of podcasts ranging from sports to entertainment, pop culture, true crime, gaming, tons of stuff. And go buy some merch as well. It's our new home, our new network, Big Heads Media. Go check them out. But when we come back, diving into some more AEW right after this.
Welcome to Pistons Thoughts, where we talk, well,
you guessed it, Pistons.
Come join us weekly for everything Pistons. I swear we're fun.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit, right?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay. Well, either way, you'll probably have a great time. Come on and listen.
While you may think that history is vaguely interesting, the truth is it's fun and metal AF.
Echoes of the past are still reverberating through our world today, and Body Count is here to show you how our shared history affects your life on the daily.
Whether you know it or not. So, are you past the point of higher education?
Feel like you didn't learn anything from your high school history teacher?
Or just didn't give a flying crap about it?
Are you tired of always missing out on the yellow history pie piece in Trivial Pursuit?
Are you the horror of all your friends' game nights?
Did you once proudly announce that Napoleon Bonaparte was a super short little nutsack?
When in reality, he was an average-sized nutsack.
Have you been thinking about living under a faulty dam?
Or perhaps an active volcano?
Well, we have good news. It's not too late for you or your homeowner's insurance.
Come on over and listen to Body Count, the podcast that explores death and disaster through the ages with only one rule.
Someone, or usually a lot of someones, dies.
Because history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes.
A proud member of the MSE Podcast Network.
And we are back here on another Wrestling Wednesday where we're talking about Double or Nothing, the first official show of All Elite Wrestling, and now we're into the actual pay-per-view here. Starting off with a pretty good trios match of SoCal Uncensored versus the Strong Hearts from Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. Man, that's a mouthful. OWE. Wow. Yeah. Before we dive in, let's cover this match, and I'll go back on some notes I had from the actual show and see if you're kind of on the same page as me here. But SoCal Uncensored, I thought, for those people who didn't know who these guys were, they let them freaking know, man.
Yeah, I hate to compare them because I mean they're totally different, but I got a very new age outlaw feel from them when they came out, especially by letting the fans, like you said, letting the fans know who exactly they are. Like I knew who Christopher Daniels was. I'm familiar with him and his work. Frankie Kazarian, I heard the name first time seeing him in ring. But yeah, this match was a decent way to start off the show. But just to me, their entrance was the highlight of their match, though.
Well, I'll tell you, the contingent of Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, I've been a huge fan of them since the early days of TNA. I've followed their careers since then, and me and Greg were some of the first people to hop on the bandwagon back when they were Bad Influence in TNA, and then they went to Ring of Honor and became The Addiction, and then they brought on Scorpio Sky and became SoCal Uncensored. And I wasn't like super into them adding Scorpio Sky at first, and then I've seen what he brings to the team, and I'm like, man, this is just a great trio with these three. And, you know, Scorpio's got that line over of, this is the worst town I've ever been in. And the crowd, I mean, at first they booed it when he started doing that, and now they all say it along with him. They love it.
Exactly. That's part of being a good entertainer. If you got a good catchphrase, no matter if people hate it or love it, if they'll sing along if they want to.
Oh yeah, and it was they didn't disappoint, especially this night. They had a great showing. Scorpio Sky, he lives up to his name, man. He can freaking sky. He did one front flip tope over the top rope, and I was like, dang, like he's up there with Ricochet with jumping skills, man.
Yeah, when I wouldn't mind seeing those two in the ring. Maybe it's happened in the past before I had to do some research, but I wouldn't mind seeing them now.
Oh, hell yeah.
I doubt it was going to happen anytime soon, but hopefully.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, but yeah, these three did great. The fact that Daniels, I mean, Kazarian's up there, getting up there in age. I'm not exactly sure how old he is. Well, he's 41. And I know Daniels was talking about he's a physical freak, dude, because he looks great. He's 49 years old.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look a day over 40, maybe even younger. But, you know, it prolongs their careers, you know, doing more tag stuff. They've got great personality. They're very marketable. And I've never heard, the only member of the Strong Hearts I've even heard of was Shima. The other two, T-Hawk and L. Lindemann, never heard of them.
Yeah, though that was a new team for me. I had no familiarity with them at all. So, like I said, with AEW, like I said, I was expecting to know a few names here and there. I wasn't going to know everybody on the card, and Strong Hearts, they were one of them.
Yeah, I mean they had a great match. The three of them to open the show. They didn't
Like I said,
disappoint.
it was just a solid match to get the show started.
Right.
Like, it didn't overperform. It didn't underperform. It was maintained. It's something you needed to start the night off right.
And it let you know, keep an eye on SoCal Uncensored for the future because they're fantastic. So
yeah, and they said they're in AEW wins matter. So
yeah, because they said there's a meritocracy system where people aren't just handed title shots. We'll see. I'll say this: we'll see how long that lasts. Because in professional wrestling, I like when it's treated like a sport, but there's some times where it's really inconvenient to treat it so much like a sport, It might last. They might have a good plan for it. But we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully they can make it work since they're building it up. Another thing they changed for the rules here is instead of a 5 count to get out of the ring if you're not the legal man in tag matches, it is a 10 count. They said that allows for more tag team work. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, did you have an opinion one way or another on it?
I mean, I didn't really. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, because in wrestling, like, are referees even like really that strict with them? I see a ref, they be trying to count, but they don't. But like, I never really like seen a ref like really threaten somebody. If you don't get out by the time I count to 5, you're disqualified. So.
Yeah, well, I think that might be a good thing that works in their favor because now they're not just going, the refs are stupid, that's why they're not disqualifying anybody. Now they can say, oh, it's a 10 count, so, whatever, they have longer. I don't know.
It's something new. I had to get used to, but I just felt like before I never seen a ref implement a 5 count. Like I never seen a tag team get suspended. I'm not get suspended, get disqualified by a 5 count.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or another, but they talked about most. I think Ring of Honor does the same thing as New Japan does, and maybe that's why AEW didn't do it with counting out people on the outside of the ring, is they have a 20 count instead of a 10. And I don't know that because Dave Meltzer acts like, well, that's so much better. Said, yeah, I mean, I guess, but when you do the 20 count, they do a fast 20 count, whereas the 10 count, it's more like 1 Mississippi instead of 1-2. So all in all, it kind of equals out to the same amount of time.
Pretty much, and I feel like it's just whatever referee is refereeing that match, like they'll be the judge, or unless somebody in the back tells them, hey, be strict on the count. But I feel like the ref has say like how fast he counts or however he wants to do it. Right.
Yeah. I got to ask you about this because I have strong opinions on this. The 3-man team they had, man, of the commentators. What do you think of Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Alex Marvez?
Jim Ross, I love. I will never say anything bad about Jim Ross. He is the voice of my childhood. Had the pleasure to interview JR a few weeks ago, and really loved it. Loved it. Alex Marvez. That's the only thing with this. Like, I didn't know like who was supposed to be besides Excalibur. I knew he was like a color commentator guy, but between Alex Marvez and JR, I really couldn't tell who was supposed to be the lead play-by-play guy. I mean, JR was set up in the middle, but at times Alex Marvez called a lot of moves was going on in the ring.
Well, my thing was, it didn't seem like either one of them, like the two guys who you thought these are the play-by-play guys, I didn't think either one of them came across as a play-by-play guy because Excalibur, because I watched a lot of the show back because I was only half-heartedly paying attention to the commentary the first time because Marvez just sucks. And people are making well, it's his first time. It's like, yeah, but there are some things like he sucks, man. Like he made Mike Adamle look like a professional, wrestling guy. But him and JR would occasionally call moves. Alex would usually call them wrong. But it was usually Excalibur that was kind of calling the play-by-play. And then JR was throwing in a lot of color. And then Alex would come in with some stupid comment that kind of just like something exciting would be happening and like Excalibur's losing his freaking mind and JR's like, oh man, and he's adding like, exciting color to it. And then Alex comes in just monotone. Oh, did you know that this guy graduated at the top of his kindergarten class? Isn't that interesting? I'm like, shut up, Alex. Like,
yeah, I think moving forward they probably just need to narrow down and just have two of them.
Yeah,
and maybe this was like their tryout. So maybe at their next show they'll just have two. Who knows?
Yeah, Excalibur. I didn't go in as a big fan of him. I thought he did really well on this show, though. Him and JR, I thought they have big enough personalities and they're good enough at their job where they're fine as a two-man booth. And then Alex just seemed like he made it a crowd. And I didn't like it. Even if he was good at, like the stuff he was saying, even if it wasn't stupid and forced, I felt like he made it a crowd, and I didn't really care for it. The other major production problem I had was, and I know it was their first show, I'm not going to dog on them too bad, but they pulled a TNA. People got mad at TNA for this for so many years, where something would be going on, and the camera would cut away from what was going on, and you would miss it. Or it would just be focused on one shot for a long period of time, and something would happen on the other side of the ring, and you had no idea what the hell was going on. Like, yeah, you notice that?
I just think whoever the head producer was, yeah, they gotta fix it. I mean, I didn't notice it. I didn't pay too much attention. I didn't notice it as much as you did, but I mean, I did know a few times where they were just skipping from camera to camera. So, like I said, it to me it's just something small that could easily be fixed. So I'm not going to rip them too much for it.
Yeah, I mean the directing and the camera work is stuff you can work on. And here's my thing. This is why I said I'm not going to dog on them too much, because it's something that if they work on it, they can easily change this stuff and they can make it better. It's their first show. I dogged on TNA about that kind of stuff because they did it for years. And they never, you'd miss so much stuff that was big and important in TNA shows because they had crappy camera angles so often. So I hope AEW just goes back. They said the main guys said they're going to go back and watch it over and over and kind of see what they can do better. And that's one thing I think they can definitely do better. This, I forget what part in the show this was happening. It might have been during the pre-show, and I skipped it. But did you see that stupid backstage segment with Kylie Ray and the Librarians?
I did not. I missed that one. I missed it.
Oh, God. They were, they introduced their official interview woman in the back, Alicia Atout, and she was interviewing Kylie Ray, who, like and it's not like me doing this because, I'm here pulling for WWE or something. Like, Cody has made these comparisons to Bayley. Kylie Ray seems like a knockoff of Bailey, but dumb. Like,
exactly. I got that vibe too. Yes.
Because there were certain times, like especially during like this segment, she came across as an idiot. Like Bailey came across like she had childlike tendencies, like, you know, where she was like supposed to be like innocent and fun loving. Kylie comes across as a child, like a 5-year-old that's not smart. And I don't know. I don't care for the gimmick too much. And yeah, especially since Cody took a shot at Bailey, that's going to do nothing but draw comparisons. But she was doing some goofy interview in the back about how excited she was to be there. And then for those of you that want to know more about the librarian, it's in the archives of the show. We kind of go over the stupid gimmick. But there's a male librarian and a female librarian that I assume are going to feud over the gimmick, which that's a hell of a thing to feud over, if you ask me. But they came in, interrupted the interview. First it was the male one, and he tried shushing Kylie, and then the female one came in. She tried shushing the guy, and then they just went on for 5 minutes shushing each other until they faded out.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't watch it then, because I got annoyed, pissed,
Alicia Tout, who's supposed to be conducting the damn interview, just got tired and just like walked off camera. I'm like, what? Like, stop! Like, it's been going on and on and on, and like this was another. Like, Kylie just kept like looking back and forth at him, like, what's going on? I'm so intrigued. Like, dude, just cut the camera. Just stop. But they need to.
I mean, for their first show, I mean, everything wasn't going to be stellar. So, like I said, you're gonna have things that you hated, like that segment, according to you, and and you're gonna have things you like. So, you gotta take the good with the bad.
That was definitely bad. But next we get. It was scheduled to be a triple threat women's match. Kylie Ray, Britt Baker, DMD, and or Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Nyla Rose came out for their match. I'll give my opinions on them here in a second. But Brandy Rhodes came out, and they acted like, oh, well, Brandy's going to get involved in the match. I mean, she was in her gear and everything. And she said, well, you three will have a great match, but I want it to be awesome. And then she introduced, who I never thought I'd see wrestle on TV ever again, Awesome Kong. And, dude, did you hear that pop for Awesome Kong?
Yes. And wow. As soon as she said, I wanted the match to be awesome, if you didn't know, like, I guess people in the arena didn't really want to believe it. Because as soon as he said, I was like, Awesome Kong is coming. As soon as he said awesome, I knew exactly what that was leading up to. But as soon as that music played, and as soon as she walked out of that tunnel, the roof came off the building. Briefly.
I couldn't believe and I like Awesome Kong. I'm a fan of hers, but I couldn't believe the pop she got. That was huge. But yeah, she made her debut. Brandy's apparently in her corner. This match became a fatal 4-way, and I don't know. Kylie Ray is okay. I mean, she's pretty good. Britt Baker is okay. Awesome Kong is good, but she didn't do a whole lot here.
Nyla Rose was the MVP of this match for me.
Man, I went the other way. I thought she didn't belong in there. I didn't think she was very good, and she didn't do a whole lot.
I like what Nyla Rose did. I felt like she was gonna be the biggest woman in the match before Awesome Kong joined, and she had her dominant moments.
She did. I don't know. It wasn't that anything she did was necessarily bad. I just didn't feel like the crowd was kind of behind her. Maybe it was just the match. Might not have been her. It's just the match itself. I didn't really get into a whole lot. There were only a few awesome moments. But overall, I thought the match was kind of blah. And it comes down to the two bigger women get knocked out outside the ring. And Britt Baker nails Kylie Ray with a super kick. And then I don't even know what the hell Adam Cole called that thing. Basically a suplex dropped into a neck breaker over the knee, for those of you out there. But she basically did her boyfriend's finishing moves to end the match. I don't know why, like she came out to Adam Cole's old Ring of Honor theme at All In, and then she's doing his finishers here. It's like, do you not have your own identity, or are you just kind of like hanging off of your boyfriend who's got a big name in WWE right now?
Pretty much. And I mean, I have no problem with that. Hey, get it how you live. if you, I mean, eventually it's going to get old and people are going to realize what you're doing. But for the very first show and for maybe the first time a lot of people are seeing you, hey, do what you know. Do what makes you comfortable. And if that was made her comfortable, I'll applaud her for this. But like I said, moving down the road, she'll eventually have to develop her own gimmick and character.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a decent gimmick, and she seems like, she's working the heel, like, I'm better and smarter and prettier than all of you kind of gimmick, which is, fine because, she's gorgeous and she's a doctor and all this other stuff. So she's got, that whole, holier than thou kind of thing going on. But yeah, I don't think she needs to constantly reference the fact that her boyfriend is in WWE to get over. Maybe they told him to do that. I mean, because we'll see. We'll talk about it a little bit here coming up here in a moment. But I mean, you seen some shots send that AEW sent to WWE, so. Yeah, maybe they told her to go out and do this. I don't know. It was what it was. But yeah, that match I just wasn't super into. I think they need to. It seems like they're trying to build up their women's division, but it's going to be a little while. The next match I felt was amazing. It was the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor, Chucky T, whatever you want to call him, and Trent. They faced Angelico and Jack Evans, who, I'll be honest, I hadn't seen a lot of Angelico before this, and I haven't seen Jack Evans in years. But, man, these four guys just, like, freaking tore it up, man.
Yeah, I felt like this match, it just became like a big old, like, okay, I'm about to do this. Now let's see if you can top that. Like a lot of, a lot of big spots was performed throughout this match. I'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, it was hashtag flippy crap. I'm censoring it for the podcast, but and it was a lot of indie-rific, no selling and stuff like that, but it got over. It was entertaining, and I thought it was, especially for the middle of the card, it was a really damn good match. But go ahead.
Now, I was against this style before, and I still am kind of against this. So I remember when I first seen it. I forget who was it. When I first, who was Ricochet's biggest feud in the Indies? I forget his name.
Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I remember the first time they did that, and I was like, okay, this is not wrestling. This is just choreographed stuff.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay, but I like I said, I was impressed with this one, but I don't want to see it too often.
Right, same here. That's what Jack Evans and Angelico are known for, though. So get ready for that.
Well, I'll just be turning the channel when they come out there.
Oh man, I dig them. I dug both these teams here. I will say this, though. According to Dave Meltzer, Will Ospreay is the best worker bell to bell in the world right now.
I seen that.
I like was like, what?
I want to slap your Uncle Dave at times.
Yeah, he's got a screw loose, to say the least. But yeah, the big spots of this match was honestly a hug, because the best friends teased that they were going to hug at one point. The crowd was into it. They got drop kicked, and the crowd booed. And then they teased the hug later on. They finally did it. The crowd blows, and they pull the camera back like for the Rainmaker taunt. I laughed for that one. But the end of the match saw the best friends get the win. So obviously they're putting them over here as a top team, which is, that's cool. I like Trent, Chucky T. I could take him or leave him. He was good here. But the big thing with the match wasn't this actual match, but it's afterwards. The lights go out, and when they come back on, two guys are in the ring who, if people aren't familiar with the indies, they're the Super Smash Bros. The big guy in the mask is player Uno, and the bald dude who is wearing like some purple skirt thing is player Dos.
Is Nintendo okay with that?
I guess so. They've been getting away with it for years. But yeah, so they're the Super Smash Bros. They debuted in a big way, beating up the other guys, and then all of these, to me, they look like clones of Delirious almost. They hit the ring. There was like freaking 10 of them. Just beat the tar out of the best friends and Helico and Jack Evans. And then at the end, and the Super Smash Bros. Hit some cool-looking moves on the guys. And then they make a human throne for player Uno to sit on. It was real weird. But I guess that's going to be their big heel team that they're going to push to start off with.
Not a bad way to introduce them. That's my first time seeing them, so
yeah.
Just I said, I'm just excited to see all these people I'm unfamiliar with continue to grow and move forward, and for me to learn a little bit more about them. Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it is what it is. The crowd chanted, "Who are you?" That was funny. My thing was like, they really needed to communicate with commentary better, and commentary needed to communicate better with the people at home, because JR is losing his mind. He's like, "Who are these guys?" And they're like, and Excalibur, "Oh, they're working over so and so." He's like, "I don't care who they're working over. I can see that. Who the hell are they?" And nobody said a word for like 30 seconds. They just sat there in silence after JR is like losing his mind. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, nobody. And Greg texted me during that moment. He's like, because I had walked away for a second and I came back and he was like, "Who the hell?" He's like, "Quick, who are these guys?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Super Smash Bros." And he's like, "Okay, I knew you'd know." I said, "Yeah, ask them, Mark." They did the same thing when they were at the G1 Super Show in G1 Supercard in MSG.
Mm-hmm.
They during the Gorillas of Destiny match, I guess Ramon was like, "Crap, what the hell does Tomatonga call his RKO?" And Greg was like, "Text TJ, he'll know." And he texted me, and I knew it right away. He was like, "Yep, I knew it." But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the next match here. It was good. There's one part we definitely need to talk about. It was a women's trios match. Excuse me. It was 6 women from Japan. The only one out of, I knew one of the women, and the other one I'd seen in their promotional stuff. So,
oh my gosh, do we really have to talk about this? Like, I cringed throughout this whole match.
Why is that? Because of the weird genie girl?
That's one, and then I mean, I just felt like they tried too much. Like I said, it was a lot of that, especially that one botch. It was like towards the end of the match. It was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not giving them another shot. I almost went to the extreme to call them Eva Marie, but I didn't want to go that far. But I just didn't care too much for this match.
I didn't see a whole. I thought the wrestling itself was pretty good. I didn't see a whole lot that was terrible. But the problem is we didn't know any of these women except for Aja Kong, who got the biggest reaction out of all of them. But yeah, on her team, she had like both these teams were just weird because it was Aja Kong, Emi Sakura, and she came out with like a fake mustache, trying to look like Freddie Mercury or something.
Yeah, no,
that was weird.
I didn't give two craps about that match.
Yeah, and they brought out Yuka Sakazaki, who is the tiniest woman ever. Mm-hmm. She's like the female Marco Stunt as far as size. She's 5'2". I don't know how much she weighs, but she's a tiny little thing. Oh, good Lord. She was trained by the DDT dojo, which is why she has a weird freaking gimmick. But she's basically she's basically a manga, like anime character come to life. It was odd. I don't know. But the other team was a bit more serious. You had the one I'd seen in the promotional stuff was Hikaru Shida, who actually ended up winning the match. Ryo Abe and Ryo Mizunami. Ryo Mizunami was about the closest thing they had to an equivalent of Aja Kong on their team. And Ryo Abe is apparently very young. Not sure. Oh, she's 21 years old. She's about to turn 22 next month. So she's a young.
So basically, this match was all these young women's tryouts, and depending on how well they did, they may be on the next show.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would assume so. Hikaru.
If they're that young, I would think so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hikaru Shida's only 30. She's the one. I can't remember who. I think she pinned Emi Sakura, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Aja Kong did her thing. What she's always done. She looked, good. Good compared to whatever. I just felt this one went on way too long. It was like 13 minutes, and normally that's good time for a 6-person match, but it's just like, I don't know. I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't super invested in it. It bared no meaning on the future of anything, so I didn't really care.
Nope.
But there was a botch as far as Emi Sakura got a pin on one of them, and the ref was like basically 2 9/10, and the timekeeper didn't wait for a signal. He just rang the bell, and they stared at the timekeeper like, what the hell? And the referee was like, nope, 2, match is continuing. And the woman's ref they got was very good. She played it really well, like an actual official. So, but man, the crowd just crapped on it, dude. They booed the hell out of that.
As they should.
Yeah, it was.
Look, as soon as I seen that, I just pictured that gif. Boo that man or that woman.
Yeah, it was not good. But yeah, the ending, Hikaru Shida got the win with a Shining Wizard on, like I said, I think it was Emi Sakura. So that was that. The next match was these last three were the ones that I really gave a crap about. And I think everybody felt that way.
These last three matches is pretty much what sold out the building.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The other stuff was just filler. And it wasn't crap. It just wasn't, I don't think any of those matches before this one really sold anything.
Mm-hmm.
Cody with Brandy Rhodes took on Dustin Rhodes. To comment, because it's quicker to comment on Dustin's entrance, his theme song started off sounding like a remix of the Goldust theme, and then it went into a remix or like an instrumental of Brain Stew by Green Day. It was kind of weird. I'm like, not what I expected, but whatever.
I did get the Goldust theme from the beginning, but when you say Green Day, you lost me.
Yeah, well, if you go back and listen, if you listen to Brain Stew, it sounds just like.
I'm gonna tell you that I'm not gonna go listen to it.
Well, I'll just take my word for it. It's what it sounded like. I was like, all right. But yeah, Cody came out and I don't know. Before his entrance, they showed on the stage there was a throne, and it looked exactly like something that Triple H has sat on a few times. Had his cross thing on the back. It had skulls on it. And Cody comes out with Brandy, comes to the ring. Brandy pulls out a sledgehammer and hands it to him. He goes back up and bashes the crap out of that throne, and it blows up. Sound
like you didn't like it.
I was just like, why? It's just like, this is their, like, since it got so much hype, this is their debut to a wider audience than even All In had. And the first thing they see is one of the top guys in the company is taking a shot at WWE.
I loved it.
Blatant shot.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, cause we asked JR when he was on, and I just asked him, does he feel like AEW needs to compete with WWE? And JR said no. He told me no, just focus on what they're doing. But I felt like, then why would you start up a wrestling company? You need to, if you're not trying to be the best wrestling company, then you have no business trying to start one, especially here in America. So I love the message. I love the shot Cody sent to Triple H. Is like, we're here, especially after what Triple H called him a pissant company at the Hall of Fame. So I had no problem with Cody Rhodes taking that shot at.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on it. I wasn't super. I was just kind of like, do your own thing, Cody. Like, just be Cody. Like, I felt like this match should have been more about like what they were building and not, oh, by the way, I'm going to take a quick shot at Triple H. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Like, yeah, right.
Well, and that's probably the thing. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I know, like, the Rhodes family in WWE, they had, like, it always hasn't been smooth sailing there. And we don't know, like, the exact details behind that. So maybe something Cody and Triple H had words back in the day that Cody would never forget. So we don't know the behind the scenes details to it. So it could be something bigger than what we actually know.
That's true. Never know. I just know, Cody sure loves taking shots at WWE all the time, and I'm like, man, just, I mean, yeah. I mean, some other ones he do, I'll be like, okay, why? But that one I didn't mind. I did not mind at all. Yeah, like, my thing was, like, when the thing about Bayley, where he's like, oh, it's not some, fake whatever, is somebody trying to be, or pretending to be nice. And I was like, that was really unnecessary. What the hell did Bayley ever do to you? But I don't know. And then my thing is, this whole match was about, I'm going to kill the Attitude Era. His weight belt said Attitude Killer. But he was taking on Goldust with Earl Hebner as a referee and Jim Ross on commentary. It's like, really? Like, you sure hate the Attitude Era there, Cody. You got it all over the damn place.
I mean, I didn't see too much of the promo. So if that's what he was, like, if that's what his message was, trying to say, like, he's trying to kill Attitude Era, okay, but I just felt like this was a match his dad, like, Dusty would have been proud of this match, like, and maybe that's why he had Earl Hebner be the referee. He already wanted JR on commentary anyway, so I didn't mind JR calling the match. But I love this match from start to finish. Had a very good pace, and I just felt like they put on this show for their dad, for the great late Dusty Rhodes, and I felt he would have been proud of this.
I didn't hate the match or anything to do with it. It just, part of his, because he said, when I beat Dustin, he said, when I beat Dustin, I'm gonna kill the Attitude Era, basically, and that's why it said Attitude Killer on his weight belt. And I just thought, all right, that just makes it seem silly because you've got the Attitude Era plastered all over this match, you know. But I don't know. I didn't let it take away from the match. For me, we've actually run a little long in the segment, so when we come back, we'll actually talk about the match itself. But we are still affiliated with Drama City Productions. So right now, I'm going to tell you about a couple of podcasts you can hear on the Drama City Productions podcast network. Go to dramacityproductions.com and check out the rest. We'll be right back with more AEW Double or Nothing.
Drama City Productions.com.
Sometimes you want to go where nobody knows your name. The Small Town Mentality Podcast with Ben and Austin.
What's up, guys?
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
It's your host, Ben and Austin, from the Small Town Mentality Podcast.
And if you're some real cool dudes...
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Oh, my bad. We got to keep it PC for this promo.
You can follow us on Twitter at STMPod, on Instagram at Small Town Mentality Podcast, and on Facebook at STMPod. You can find us everywhere podcasts are played.
Yep. So if you're some real cool dudes...
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
My bad, sir. I didn't mean to call you that.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I'll keep that in mind next time we have it up. Come check us out.
Small Town Mentality Podcast.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I didn't even say sir that time.
All right, we are back, and we're talking Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. I will say I like the workaround during Cody's entrance when Justin said Cody with Brandy Rhodes. It's like that's kind of funny. Like, he can still use it technically because, like, well, we didn't say Cody Rhodes. We said Brandy. We just didn't emphasize it, you know.
My big knock away from the entrance is I feel like the camera didn't know which side he was coming out of. Like, you see the chair, you seen the chair, and then shot the crowd. And after they show the chair, next thing you know, you see Brandy Rhodes standing there, and then the camera does a complete 360, and there's Cody coming out. So I just feel like they didn't know which side he was coming out of. That's my only takeaway. Negative thing about his entrance.
Yeah. Well, even with, I will say that set, it was nice to see a custom set for a change because they had the poker chips up there and it was an actual set piece. Like, that's one really big thing I miss about WWE is those cool custom sets for each event. Excuse me. But this match, man, 22 and a half minutes. Cody ripped off the middle turnbuckle pad at one point, threw it in the crowd. You know that thing is going to be a keepsake for that person because people dove for it.
I forget who said it, but one of the announcers said that's going on eBay, and I was like, "You're damn right."
I would, if that was me, I'd be like, "Hell no, I'm keeping this thing. I might even get it autographed."
All right, question: If you're in the crowd at that moment, do you leave or do you stay and risk somebody taking it from you?
I'd sit on it. Or, well, I'd be there with a friend. So, and Greg is very good about keeping an eye on his stuff. So, between the two of us, we'd be Hawkeyeing that damn thing. So, I'd make sure I'd sit on it, and I'd be like, man, if I ever stand up, I'd just like hold on to it. So it's like, if somebody tried to snatch it from me, I'd just punch them in the face, take it back. But yeah, at that point, Cody ended up getting Dustin throwing him face first into that turnbuckle. I thought that as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, he's going to blade. And then later, Brandy smacked him in the face with a cane, and Dustin said that's, quote unquote, in kayfabe, where he got busted open was the cane shot. But god dang, dude, he bled buckets. They showed him laying on the mat, he lifted his head up a bit, and blood.
It poured out, literally.
Yeah, it was like he had a faucet turned on in his head. I'm like, dang, dude, that was sick.
I'm not mad at it because, like I said, like for me, it felt like they were going and it felt like they were going for that old school feel, and I feel like Dusty Rhodes, he bled like that back in his heyday. I just got that old. This gave me an old school wrestling type match, so I wasn't mad at nothing. Like they did nothing wrong to me in this match. Nothing.
Cody was covered in blood, his own blood at All In, and then he was covered in his brother's blood here at Double or Nothing. So, man, Cody was just like Dustin's whole face. You couldn't tell where his red paint ended and the blood began, and Cody was just head to toe covered in Dustin's blood. It was sick, but I'll say I'm glad this was it. There was blood later on in the night, but that was hard-weighed and unintentional. They only planned to get blood here, which I like. I've watched old school WCW and NWA stuff where every single match somebody was getting busted open, and after a while I was just like, my god, more blood. But this one I thought was good.
Blood. In some matches blood is needed. This one I had no problem with it. You just don't overdo it.
Right. Yeah, if it's not every single show, if it's not every single match, then yeah, it's great. I thought it worked well here. Cody got the win after hitting Crossroads multiple times. And then the end, Dustin goes to untie his boots, like he's going to leave his boots in the ring and retire. Cody came back in with a mic and he said, "You're not allowed to retire here." He said, "I signed my name." He said, I signed my name up to face the Young Bucks on the next show, which I'm assuming is going to be All Out. And he said,
what was it? Fight?
Oh yeah, Fight for the
Fest.
Fallen. Firefest is. I thought that was something else. I think because he said in Jacksonville, which far as
he clearly said Fighter Fest.
Really? Because I thought because when he said Jacksonville, I was thinking they were doing that at Fight for the Fallen. Because that's going to be in Jacksonville. But either way, but yeah, he said, I don't need a partner for that match. I don't need I don't need a friend. I need my older brother. And him and Dustin cried, and they hugged, and everybody cheered, and people in the crowd were crying. And I'll say this: I didn't cry, but I was like, that's awesome.
I don't care. I'll watch it early Sunday morning. That's not how I want to start my day. I did shed some tears. I'm not even about to lie. Like I've been saying to describe this whole match. I just feel like they did this for Dusty, and I know Dusty would have been so proud. To see their boys. I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. So please, can we move on? Because I don't want to cry right here on the podcast.
It was good. I love that. It was probably my favorite Cody match of all time. I know Greg isn't a big fan of him, and neither is Ramon. But I thought he did real well here. I hope he keeps having matches like this. The next match was for the AAA World Tag Team Championships. It was the Lucha Bros taking on the defending champions, the Young Bucks, who came out looking like the Flying Elvises.
Oh God! Outside of that, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this early. For me, this was the match of the night for me.
This match freaking ruled. It was great. The Young Bucks played off their rusty gimmick, really well, because there was some miscommunication throughout the whole thing. The Lucha Bros came, dude. You want to talk about like ovations, man? Like the Lucha Bros, they blew the freaking roof off for these guys, and then they did it right after that for the Young Bucks. So the crowd was clearly wanting to see this one. I was there with them. All four of these guys had their working boots on and just tore the house down. The Young Bucks got the win with a one-armed Meltzer driver because Matt was actually selling his arm from getting an arm breaker from, I believe, Pentagon earlier. So that was pretty cool. These guys tore it the hell down.
My only knock with this ending is when they were trying to set up the Meltzer driver, we didn't see how Nick took out I forget which Lucha Brothers it was, but we didn't see how, because I was thinking we're just really about to sit he's really about to sit here and watch them do this move. But
yeah.
When you go back and rewind it, you see it down in the bottom left hand corner. He does super kick him outside the ring, and then he sets up for the Meltzer driver.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. That was my thing. As part of that, the camera missed a lot of stuff that night. But I hope they get a handle on that. The Young Bucks did really well here. The Lucha Brothers, I've been a fan of them for a while now. I forgot to mention this earlier, that triple threat match six-man to open the show. SoCal Uncensored did a move I didn't even know they did. They called it the best Meltzer ever, where Frankie got one of them like a tombstone, and then the Christopher Daniels did the best moonsault ever and kind of like pushed down on him as he was flipping over. So that was funny. Of course, Dave Meltzer would love that move. But it was cool. I wonder if we're going to get to see Young Bucks versus SoCal Uncensored, and they'll battle it out for, who loves Dave Meltzer more.
Oh, God. Just have Meltzer sitting ringside.
have him sitting there just like with the biggest smile on his face, his chin in his fists.
Actually, you know what? Let's have Meltzer tied up and hanging from the ceiling, and the team has to climb the ladder and untie him.
Oh man! Or they get one of those, those brawling buddies. You can get one made of him and just hang it from the rafters. That would be so stupid. And then when you when you punch those brawling buddies and they say stuff, when you do that to the Meltzer one, he's just like, well, it's like,
Yeah.
and then you punch him again, and he's like, he'll say something like, Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler in the world right now.
Oh, God.
The one thing I have to say about the Young Bucks, I don't get, because I don't watch Being the Elite. I don't care about it. And do you watch it?
Sporadically. I mean, I'm subscribed to them on YouTube, and if I see a video, if their headline grabs me, I'll click on it. But I don't sit down and watch every single one.
Well, apparently they catered most of this event to the Being the Elite crowd, and I'm not one of them. A lot of people that watch the show were not one of them. So, I don't get the whole thing between why Matt Jackson and Michael Nakazawa hate each other. It's stupid.
Yeah, I can't tell you that. I haven't watched enough of them to tell you that background story.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't care about it. But whatever. It's what it is. So I think they did the belt reveal. Was that before this match, or was it after?
That was before the Young Bucks match.
Okay, well, I'm getting it out of order here, but I was shocked as hell to see Bret Hart, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that caught me off guard. It's always like JR said, it's always good to see Bret Hart, no matter what the occasion is. Yep. Looked like he had kind of a limp to him. I don't know if some of his knee was bothering him or something, but
well, I don't know. He's probably just like that from now on, because he had a stroke not too long ago,
right?
And he beat cancer and all that, so he's not exactly in great physical shape. But it's cool to see him coming down there. He still cut a Bret Hart promo that wasn't sad to listen to. And that's the one thing. I love Mick Foley, but he's taken a lot of abuse, and when he's not good at his promos anymore like he used to be. He can't memorize scripts. I'll say that. He's always fumbling all over his words. I'm like, I would just prefer to remember him like he was. Quit wheeling him out here to show us ugly title belts. But maybe that's just
well. Bret Hart did not do that, and he did not reveal an ugly title belt.
Exactly. He didn't stumble over his words, and I don't know. Before we talked, I was listening to the Wrestling Observer review of Double or Nothing, and Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer disagreed on this part. I want to see where you fall. Me and Greg felt that belt reveal segment was it was too much, because Bret comes out, then he brings out Adam Page because he's the number one contender, and then MJF comes down and cuts it was a good promo, but it just felt long and annoying. I don't know. I felt like it could have been shorter and more to the point. And then he makes a crack at Bret about, oh, Bret, there's a fan sneaking up behind you and whatever. And, it gets a pop from the crowd, and Bret kind of laughed it off. And then freaking Jimmy Havoc and Jungle Boy come down, and them, along with Adam Page, just beat the crap out of MJF, beat the crap out of him through the crowd. So I assume they did that to show, hey, these guys are going to mean something moving forward. But then Bret randomly yanks the belt out of the bag and is like, here it is.
Yeah, and you really could. He really. I don't know if he didn't know where the camera was at. Because he briefly showed it camera side. They were trying to hop. They were trying to hop around to get a good shot of the title, but Bret would always keep turning. It's come on now.
Yeah, he held it up towards the stage. and then he kept turning away from. I'm like, dude, hard cam. Like, at least Mick Foley can do that. The titles he shows off are always hideous, but at least he knows where the hell hard cam is. Like, come on, Brett.
Yeah, that's my only thing. I mean, it was what it was. I was glad to see Brett. The title, and it was what it was. I'm not. I could care less about all the shenanigans that happened with MJF and Jungle Boy and all them. So it was what it was.
I felt like it was too much, and it kind of took away from the title being presented. And then, Brett doing it how he did. But I think
honestly.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying honestly, if you want to do a title reveal, they should have either done it before Omega and Jericho match, like when Jericho and them both in the ring, even though it's not for the title, or when Paige and now when they fight for the title, then you unveil it. I feel like you really didn't need to unveil at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of glad they did. It's cool to see, but I don't know. I felt they stepped on the segment too much. They tried to cram too much in to one thing. But I don't know. It was what it was. I like the look of the title. What do you think?
No, I'm a fan of huge gold belts. I always said the Ric Flair gold, like that's my favorite looking title of all time. So I'm a fan of huge belts, and outside of it saying AEW, kind of gave me a New Japan feel. Yeah,
it looks like me and Greg were talking about it. It kind of looks like the IWGP title and the UFC, the old UFC belt, had a baby, and this is what became of it.
Yeah. I completely agree.
But I kind of like it. It's not the traditional round. It's more like oblong. I don't know. And then the side plates aren't just square or round. They're also like longer. And it's a thick, like tall, thick belt. So it's different looking. It does kind of look like, like you said, IWGP title and the UFC title. But at the same time, it's still a bit different. So
it looks heavy as hell.
I will say the leather on the side looks like a cheaper material than what WWE uses. But I could be wrong. Maybe it just needs to be broken. I don't know. Maybe when they carry it around in their bags long enough, it'll look a little better. But we'll see. I'm anxious to see who the first champion is. But I didn't know for sure, but I almost felt that by Adam Page winning that Battle Royal, I knew who was going to win this main event. As me and Ramon were texting about it, he said, Page wins the Battle Royal, Jericho's definitely winning the main event. I said, yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but I was shocked that Omega was going to lose because I felt he was going to be their top guy. But I think they're going with the name value of, well, everybody knows Chris Jericho. So, I don't know.
From that, I've kind of felt like, okay, you can't have everybody who's invested in this company, who started the company, go over that night. Somebody's going to have to somebody's going to have to lose. And with the Bucks winning, Cody Rhodes winning, Randy didn't compete, obviously. So I kind of figured that Omega was going to lose. And now I'm glad we know what he's going to do moving forward, because at first it was like, okay, he lost. So what is Omega going to do next? But now they set up a storyline for him moving at the next show of who he can feud with. So everything worked out. Everything worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. Obviously, with how it went. And the thing was, they figured out a way, and they did it real well, I felt, to where Kenny Omega lost, but he didn't. He got his shine back at the end because Jericho broke his freaking nose. Like, this was a 27-minute match. He broke his nose, 5 minutes into the match?
Yep.
So he had to wrestle 20 minutes with a broken freaking nose, bleeding all over. It was crazy. But Jericho hits the code breaker and then finishes him off with the Judas effect, that spinning back elbow. And I was like, wow. I thought going in that he was going to spam the hell out of that move, like what Kenny does with the V trigger. But neither one of them overused their moves. Kenny actually only hit the V trigger twice in 27 minutes.
Was it twice? I thought he used it more. I thought he overused the V trigger.
He might have used it 3-4. I don't know. He didn't use it like what I'm used to seeing him use it. I know he went for it a few times and missed it. He went for it one time and Jericho caught it and rolled it into a Walls of Jericho, which I thought was great. Before we get to what happened after, what do you think of the entrances of those two?
Jericho's, I was kind of. It took me until the list of Jericho to realize what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like Lionheart, and then just with the long gold hair, I was like, is Omega coming out mocking Jericho? But then it transitioned to his other gimmick, and it was like, oh, okay, he's paying homage to all his gimmicks in the past. So
yeah,
I didn't mind. Jericho's entrance was awesome. Omega's different was kind of it was what it was. I feel like he just
was underwhelming.
He got right to the point with his.
Right. Yeah, I felt it was a little underwhelming, and I don't really like his theme. It's kind of sounds really generic to me, and especially when he had some big epic theme in New Japan, and then what he has in his own company is blah,
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of themes that stood out to me.
Right.
Show.
Yeah, I thought the Young Bucks had a really cool theme. The Lucha Brothers were okay. Dustin's was okay. I've always loved Cody's and Jericho's. I love that song. Kenny Omega's was, I thought, kind of bland. I did like Hangman Page's theme. It's kind of like an old Western cowboy type deal, and I thought it was pretty good for him.
What did you think of Jericho just standing up the ref? They couldn't figure out how to get the Cracker Barrel out of the ring.
At first, I was like, "Why is it even here?" Because they don't mention it; it's just there,
right?
And I'm like, "Why is there a Cracker Barrel in the ring?" And I texted that to Greg, and he was like, "I don't know." He had some weird response, whatever, and he was like, "I think it's a restaurant." I'm like, I know what it is, dude. I'm from Ohio. I'm wondering why the hell it's there. Because I texted him, I said, what's with the Cracker Barrel? And he was like, I believe it's a restaurant. I'm like, dude, you're such a California boy.
Wow.
That was something. That was on an episode of Robin Big where he flies home to see his parents, and he gets off the plane. He's like, yep, we're in Ohio. I can smell the Cracker Barrel. But yeah, that was funny where he the ref couldn't. He's trying to get it out under the bottom rope, and he just shoves him away, and he picks it up and throws it out. He's like, "That's how you do it." Good grief, Jericho's awesome. He recreated himself. I could go either way on that long hair, but whatever. Yeah, the match ended well. Jericho will now go on to face Hangman Page at a future event. I guess that's going to be all out, isn't it?
I I haven't seen much advertising. I'm not sure if it will be. If I was AEW, you would think you would have that title match at the very first live television show. I would think.
I was pretty sure they said they were going for All Out.
Oh well,
in Chicago.
I haven't done too much research about their next few shows, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, there's that. But after the match, Jericho gets on the mic and runs down the crowd, says everybody should be thanking him. He's the reason it's sold out there, and the crowd pops huge, and John freaking Moxley comes through the crowd. I'll tell you what, I hit the roof. I don't know if you were how you reacted to that one.
Well, let's just say I didn't watch that match live, so I had to watch it the next morning, and about the time I watched it, I knew, like, I seen it on social media and everything, like I knew he debuted there, so I was still excited to see him. He looked like he was having a lot of fun. Like he looked free.
Right.
So I mean, and just by JR's reaction, and I read today, JR, he literally didn't know that Moxley was going to show up. So that was natural.
That's awesome. Yeah, JR said before because I listened to his podcast, Grillin' JR, and he said he's kind of his whole career. He's told him, he's like, I don't want, unless I have to. He said, don't tell me the finish. He said, because I want to react. So I assume that's the way he's playing it still in AEW. Because he said to him, that's like going to a movie with somebody who's seen it before, and they're telling you, oh, watch out here. Look, at something cool is about to happen here. He said, I don't want to know. I just want to see it and react naturally. So that's awesome. And he hits, I don't know what he's calling it now, but he hit Dirty Deeds on Jericho. He hit it on the ref. And this is where he got back, Kenny got back some steam, because he goes to do it on Kenny, and Kenny just shoves him off, and they beat the tar out of each other all the way up to the stage. He starts getting the advantage on Moxley, but they get up on top of them poker chips, and frickin' Moxley, like, he hits Dirty Deeds, and then he basically, like, hits an attitude adjustment to him off the damn poker chips, like, through the stage. That was crazy.
Yeah, but, I was kind of worried for Omega, because I didn't know what was down there. But
yeah, it's a hard surface. I'll say that.
But like I said, I just feel like Ambrose, like Moxley. It's gonna give me some time to get used to. But he said, it just felt like he was having a lot of fun out there. Like this is probably some of the stuff he wanted to do in WWE, be a lot more physical, and obviously it didn't happen, which is why he's now in AEW. So I'm definitely excited for Omega Moxley moving forward.
Oh, and yeah.
No matter where they're fighting at, you have my money right now. I am ready.
Hell yeah! And even Greg and Ramon, who were, they were into the show, but they weren't like, oh man, this is awesome. I need more of this kind of. Even they were texting me and they were saying, I didn't know that I wanted Moxley versus Omega, but now I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not where I figured they were going to go, but damn, looks awesome. So much potential moving forward. Speaking of Jon Moxley, his first non-WWE match is booked for New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors Finals on June 5th. He is taking on Juice Robinson for the IWGP US title. Big stuff planned for the former Dean Ambrose. It's pretty cool. They had a really cool promo for him coming to New Japan. They're hyping him up. He's a big star with some credibility. So, I mean, he's not like, like it's John Cena or Roman Reigns or something, but he's got some name value.
Yeah, he has a name, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep.
I wonder how the wife Renee's gonna feel with him not being at home now.
You know that well, you know that meme of Kevin Hart where he's like doing that like sideways look with his eyes wide open.
Yeah.
They said how Vince and Triple H are looking at Renee during the creative meetings the next day. I was like, oh man. I'm sure they.
I read an article. I mean, they were just saying. As a matter of fact, I think Uncle Dave spoke about it, but I think they were talking about how it could possibly be like repercussions for Renee and Natty for what happened. But I doubt it will be, especially Renee. I mean, what are they gonna do? Take her off TV?
Yeah, and then it's kind of blatant, like, and she didn't do anything. Her husband's the one that left the company. So, and I mean, I'm sure they'd be willing to take her in at AEW if anything goes sideways in WWE. At least, you know, she's got experience and some talent. I like her better than Alex Marvez, I'll say that. But, yeah, well, WWE, here's my thing. People are coming out, right after that great show at Double or Nothing, and WWE comes out with that crappy Raw. And I haven't seen Raw yet. I have heard a lot about it from everything I've seen, and even Greg, who just loves everything WWE, hardly ever, hardly ever craps on Raw. He said it absolutely sucked. And I see that Sami Zayn name dropped AEW during a promo, which blew up the internet. What did you think of Raw?
Raw was it wasn't their best show, but I felt like I tweeted this. This was a throwaway show for Raw. No matter what they done, what they could have done nothing. Nothing was going to top Double or Nothing, and I felt like you can't top Double or Nothing on a random Monday Night Raw.
Well, no, yeah, and that's what my thing was. That's my argument was. First of all, it wasn't even just a Raw either. It was a holiday night. A lot of people are out with their families and everything else. They're not going to be. A lot of people ain't going to be watching live anyway. So, who cares? And was there a basketball game on last night?
Nah, the finals don't start till Thursday.
Oh, okay.
It was game one of the Stanley Cup Finals, the hockey.
Ah, okay. Well, you know, that might be getting ratings too. I don't know what they pull in on average, but I bet you're happy for the finals.
Actually, I'm not
scared.
I'm not. Oh, I haven't told. No, I'm no longer a Raptors fan.
Oh, what? Why?
I'm gonna just make. I was only a Raptors fan for a certain player, and they traded my favorite player off the Raptors. So it's like I have no association with them no more.
Ah, man. Well, I will say this. I want them to beat the Warriors. Probably not going to happen, but I want it to happen. But we'll see. But enough about basketball. But yeah, it was a random throwaway Raw, and it was like what the hell were they going to do to compete with the first pay-per-view that a new company started?
Nothing.
Like, yeah, it's just like anybody who expected that to be like their retaliation. It's like, dude, get real. Like, come on, guys.
WWE's retaliation is going to be this Saturday, NXT 25. Takeover. That's going to be their retaliation, because honestly, right now, only thing that can top it, Double or Nothing is what they're doing down at NXT. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, is NXT's coming up this weekend? Or,
is it this?
No, I was asking. I can't remember Wait, because you said when it was, and I missed. Did you say this week or next week?
No, I thought I'd seen it for this week, but I mean I could be wrong. It could be next week. It could be the 8th. But I thought I seen it for this week.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't remember which it is, but yeah. So it's coming up.
It is this week. Yeah, it is Saturday.
Really? So it's going up with Super Showdown.
No, Super
Isn't
Showdown
this weekend?
Super Showdown's next week. Is next Thursday.
Man. Okay, I'm getting them all swapped around.
June 1st is NXT TakeOver. June 7th is Super Showdown.
Oh man!
So you have a whole 6 days.
Well, nothing's going to compete with Super Showdown. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing 50-year-old Undertaker versus 50-year-old Goldberg.
Oh man! Oh, dude, if only they were 50, they might actually be in better shape. And then you've got slow-ass Triple H versus slow-ass Randy Orton in an anything goes match, and yeah, it's not going to be a good show, people. And then I assume you saw who's going to be facing Seth Rollins.
Yes, the one and only Baron Corbin.
Oh yeah, Mr. Turn the Channel Heat himself. Bringing in them big ratings, I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna tell you something. Super Showdown is going to surprise a lot of people, though.
Why is that?
I think that's when Brock's going to cash in.
I hope not.
Because
that was the last time
he's advertised. He's advertised the B over in Saudi Arabia, but they haven't announced a match for him yet.
Yeah, the last time they had a cash in involving Brock, it was at Crown Jewel, and that sucked. Wasn't that it?
Wait, did they?
I know it was Strowman versus Brock, and that was what it had to have been. That, yeah, because Strowman handed Baron Corbin the briefcase. Baron smacked Braun with it, and Brock ended up beating him and winning the title.
Okay, yeah, but he didn't technically cash in though. He just had a title shot, even while he was holding the briefcase.
No, yeah, it was Braun's briefcase. Remember? Because Braun had teased cashing it in at SummerSlam, and then later on he didn't get to do it. So
yeah, no, I'm saying it was just a title match. Like Braun didn't cash in for the title opportunity, because remember the title was vacant.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Either way.
Because that was a few weeks after Roman announced he had leukemia. His leukemia came back, so that was just a normal title shot.
Well, either way, it sucked.
Very forgetful. The best thing about that was. Okay, no, that was the greatest Royal Rumble. I'm getting them mixed up. They got too many shows overseas now. I'm getting confused.
And all of them suck. I don't know. And to the people saying, "Oh, WWE needs to step up their game," and I mean, yeah, sure, maybe down the line, but does anybody realize that they're not gonna AEW is not gonna have a weekly show until October?
That's what I was trying to tell our mutual friend. It's like it's like AEW's next show isn't until what, June?
Their pay-per-view, their next pay-per-view, I don't even know if it's going to be on pay-per-view or if it's just a show.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like nobody knows when their next live pay-per-view is going to be. So WWE, all WWE has to do is let Double or Nothing cool down, which it'll be cool down after this week, and then they can re-up and start doing back to regular scheduled programming for them.
Yeah, and they're not going to have any weekly television program for anybody to compare them to up until October. So
exactly,
they're sitting pretty. They're making money, whether people complain about it or not. People are still going to watch for now, at least. So we'll just have to see where it goes and if they make any improvements moving on. But we'll see. But yeah, man, we went kind of long today, but I appreciate you being with me for this one, man.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we definitely a little bit long. I mean, I could still knock out a whole another hour and a half, but yeah, for your listeners' purposes, yeah, we'll stop it right there.
Yeah, it's a little long, but there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I hope everybody enjoyed listening. Where can I teased that you're on a bunch of projects right now. What you want to plug anything before we call it a day?
Yeah, I do have a lot of stuff I'm working on. Just make sure you can just follow me on Twitter at the Tarren Bland. That's where I'm most active at. I do have a wrestling podcast, No Holds Barred. That's on. You can check out our episodes on ESPN1530.com. I have another Cincinnati sports podcast, also ESPN1530.com, called Don't Question Yourself. And then I have my baby, my creation that I created, Down to the Wire 513. And for anything with that show, it'll just easy to Google us. We're literally everywhere. So just Google Down to the Wire 513, and you can find us literally everywhere.
And I try to share his stuff as much as possible whenever I see it popping up in my either my timeline on Facebook or in my Twitter feed there. So check that out. Keep up with us on social media. Keep up with the Tarren Bland, and we will catch you next time. Later.
This has been a Drama City production.